Hey guys, real quick. If you're fed up with your old vacuum and you're looking to invest in a reliable and repairable vacuum, but you don't know what to buy, give me a call. I sell good quality vacuums, but more importantly, I recommend what you need by asking a lot of qualifying questions so you don't end up buying something that has features you'll never use. All right, now for today's video, I'm going to show you how to replace the motor in the Dyson cleaner head that is for most Dyson models. Now, this particular one is going to be the UP13. A lot of the Dyson upright ball models are going to use this particular motor for most of the ball models. Now, a common problem is that these motors will fail. In this case, the commutator panel actually just completely blew out, so this motor is completely dead. So I found that you can actually get these motors. They're relatively inexpensive, and you can save a ton of money by replacing the motor rather than what Dyson has you do is you have to buy an entire brand new cleaner head in order to fix this dead motor issue. And the only problem is that the motor is the failure. So if you follow the video, I can show you how to replace this motor, and you'll probably save a lot of money. Now, the first thing that you need to do is confirm that your motor is indeed the problem, okay? So what you're first going to do is you're going to hook up a voltage tester to the vacuum cleaner, and make sure that the support wheels here are in the back position, okay? Because there is a micro switch that will turn off the power to here when it's in the locked upright position. And so when you turn the machine on, you should be reading, you want to turn your multimeter on to read for DC volts, and you want to see between 120 and 150 volts, okay? And you also want to make sure your brush motor switch is on up at the top. So we're going to turn this on real quick and test this voltage, okay? All right, now here's the tools that you're going to need. So you're going to need a Torx T15, a Torx T10, a Torx 8, also a Phillips head number 1, and then a pair of needle nose pliers. What we're going to do is we're going to take the base plate off, and you've got these two clips here. Just take that off like that. Next, we're going to take the brush roll assembly out. And that's going to be 4 Phillips head screws. That's going to be the number 1 Phillips head screws to take out. I'm going to use my pneumatic. Now you do want to make sure you're paying attention to where your screws go. Next, we're going to take the brush roll out. So you're just going to lift up and pull out, and the brush roll is going to come out of place. And then from here we have some T15 Torx screws, and we've got 6 screws that we're going to remove here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're going to take those out, and those are going to be a Torx T15.
All the ones on the outside here, there's 4 big ones and there's 2 small ones. The 2 small ones are here.
All right, now this is going to just lift out of place, and you can see the 2 longer screws, and then there's a small screw in that spot. And I'm going to take that other small one out, and this little cover piece comes off. All right, from there, we're going to remove these little plastic drive pieces, and that's going to need a Torx T10. So I'm going to switch over to my T10, and when you take these out, you have to hold one side as you're unscrewing the screw, and then the screw is actually just right inside of the opening right here. And then I'm going to flip it around and take the other screw out. Okay. All right, I do actually need this little flathead screwdriver just to pop these out. So I'm going to stick my screwdriver right down in like that, and then just pop it out. Okay. And those are going to be the only 2 that are a T10. All right, now once you flip it over, we're going to lift up, and then this cover piece is going to come off. That motor cover is going to come off, and that's going to show you, expose the motor here. Before you pull it out, we do need to disconnect the wires. Now, it's important that you understand what these clips, how these clips work. So these clips have a little, these electrical connectors have a little locking pin that you have to push this little spring piece down in order to release the locking pin. So the locking pin actually secures in this little hole. And so you have to grab with your pliers, you have to make sure you're grabbing specifically right there, squeeze good, and then pull this out, okay? So when I'm placing my pliers, I'm being intentional to place them right where that button is, and I'm pulling it out. Okay, I've done it 1,000 times, so I make it look probably pretty easy. All right, now we can set this clear aside, so we're gonna be working on this piece here. We've got a couple more T15 screws that we need to remove. There's a small screw right here. I'll take that out. Allows for this little base here to separate. And then from here, we're gonna take out 2 more T15 screws and then 1 T8 screw right here. All right, now there's a little gasket that you can just slice right here on where the seam is. As you pull this apart, you'll see the seam separate there, and you can just cut that. But you're gonna pull these 2 things apart here. What you can do if you want to is you can stick this in here and just slightly, just very carefully pry it apart and kind of work carefully around with a flat screwdriver until this thing pops loose. Now, it's what came out first here is this side of the spindle. So I'm just going to push really hard like this, and then that's going to cause this cover to come off like that. All right, and then this gasket will come out of place. I'll show you how to put that back together. All right, I'm going to push that spindle back in through here, and you can have this wheel comes out just like that. Now from here, we're going to we can take that spindle out, so I can pop this out like that. Just push it firmly, and that just pops out. Okay, you can do it without popping that out, and then this is going to just slide out. Okay, now at this point, you do want to mark the location of where this is. That way you don't put this piece on incorrectly on your new motor. So you want to take a take a marker, so I'm just going to mark, you know, like down in here, and just make a mark right there, so I know, so I can compare it to the other one and don't put it on incorrectly. It's got 2 T15 screws, and you're just going to take these off, and these are the only machine screws on this thing. Okay, and this piece is just going to pop right off. And I've got my mark here, so I know that this goes on like that, closer to the side with the fatter spade connector. Okay, so you can get your new motor, and you're going to be just looking to line it up correctly. Put this piece back on our new motor, and then we can screw it down in place. All right, now the next thing that you're going to do is we're going to get this piece here, and I'm going to go ahead and pop this piece back on. This is your drive assembly, so there's 2 bearings on either side that that hold the spindle, and then these pieces just screw right onto here, and so this is what drives your brush roll. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to press it tightly. I'm going to press it firmly right through here and make sure that spins freely. So we're lining up this piece with this little cam here, and we're looking at these. We're going to be sliding this piece into this channel here and here, just like that. Okay, so you have this basically adjustable piece. If you tighten this screw, it makes it extend out further, and it's just essentially a way to put the right tension on the belt. All right, so you don't really need to mess with that because it's already set to the right distance. So next we're gonna get this belt reinstalled. So you want to get it around this lip right here, and then just kind of rotate it around that shaft, that pulley, I mean. Okay, so you got your belt in place. Now we don't want to forget our little wheel here. Okay, put that in place, and then we also don't want to forget this little gasket. So we're going to install that. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put our piece back on. Just drop it down in place, and we got to squeeze tightly to pop that bearing into this bearing holder. Okay, and it should look like that. You should have no major gaps or seams. All right. Now we're going to put our two big screws in the side here. And then we're going to take that small T8 and tighten that one in.
I do have a T8 screwdriver for my pneumatic.
Okay, just going to make sure I got everything tight. Try not to tighten all the way down with the pneumatic because it can sometimes go too tight. All right, so now we're ready to install the motor assembly onto this little motor plate. And what you're looking to line up here will be this hole here. There's 3 holes here on this, and they're going to be lining up with this hole, and this hole. Okay, so sliding that down in place there, and this is the one that we're going to be putting that small screw back in. Okay, so that's in place now. So we're going to get our clear assembly, and now we can drop this down in place. It does like to get hung up right around this area here, and so the key is just making sure that this little wire loom piece is riding right here on this clear section, just like that. Okay, and we're going to take the wires and we're going to reconnect our wires here, and just like that. Okay, now you got to look closely, but you need to tuck your wires down in, and there's two wires, and they're going to get pinched right in there, and that keeps the wires from moving out of the way when you're closing this cover. So that's what you're looking to do. And I just take like a little flat screwdriver and very carefully, you don't want to damage the wires, so you got to be careful. Just push them right down into those 2 little grooves. Okay, and then you can see where the wire is going to get routed right here, and we're going to push that down in like that. So the little tape is kind of supposed to go right here in the middle. All right, and we're just going to tuck that down in place. All right, now we're ready to put our motor cover back on. And the important part here, what you can do wrong, is you can get this, I'm going to drop this straight down, and I'm going to move this over into the middle, and I'm going to drop that down. And the key here is making sure that this lip right here goes under this lip here. Okay, So that's how it looks correctly. This is how it looks incorrectly. Okay, like that. See how it's on the outside? That will cause it, when you screw everything together, this thing won't turn at all. Okay, so this thing's supposed to be able to glide freely as the vacuum kind of swivels and turns. This thing's supposed to be able to glide freely. So that's the biggest thing you can do wrong in putting this back together. All right, now what you can do is you can go ahead and put this piece back on like this, and that will hold the motor cover in place, and then you can focus on getting the other screws in. So now, if this video is valuable to you and it saves you money and you want to say thank you in the form of some sort of tip or something, I do leave my Venmo in the link or in the description. So anybody that wants to give me some sort of tip is welcome to, and I'm very grateful for that. Anybody that does that, thank you so much. So, all right, let's put our let's put our brush roll drive pieces in place here, and then we're gonna make sure to screw those in. And those just press in. There's only one way they can go on. You can't really do it wrong. It's like kind of a unique shape, and so just find the right way to push those in, and then tighten those down. And you have to hold one side. It doesn't have to be the opposite side that you're screwing in. All right, so those are in. All right, so now we can put this piece back in. I'm gonna go and just take the screws out. Sometimes it's easier just to set it in place. So it just sets down in like this, and then just pay attention to this little area here. Sometimes these are out of place and you have to just line them up and click them in. And then you remember we have the 2 long screws on the outside and the 2 short screws on the inside. Okay, so next we're going to install our new brush, not our new brush roll. We're going to install the brush roll assembly. So the brush roll gets installed only one way. There's a tall section that you can see that you're going to line up with the section here. And again, if you just look closely at it, you'll be able to see how to put it in. So just line that up like that, and then same thing with the small side. And then we're just going to put our Phillips head screws back in. And then we're going to put our base plate in. So there's 3 tabs here on the base plate that line up with 3 little receivers here. Just like that. Click it in. And then let's test it out and see if it works. So we successfully fixed the Dyson cleaner head by replacing the motor. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments and share the video if it was helpful for you. That helps the channel out. Thanks. Have a great day.